lot like You're So Fine, huh? Switch to a pick for this. Hi, this is Johnny Bergen with another Chicago Blues guitar lesson. And a little bit sad today because this was the week that Bob Kester passed away. So I'm remembering him by looking at one of my very favorite Delmark records, which is Steady Rollin Man by Robert Lockwood. I think only Bob Kester could have put this record out. I really like the way it sounds, where the guitars are kind of half and half. You can hear Lewis Myers and Robert Lockwood equally on the record, and you can really hear their styles like underneath a magnifying glass practically. There's no piano, there's no harmonica, there's no horns. And Bob made records that were very uncommercial, and they were true like documents of the living Chicago blues at the time. That's the only way you could have had records like Hoodoo Man Blues or West Side Soul or this record. And you know, how many people who were making a record would say, just play what you played at the club last night, right? Practically nobody. So we have these great documents. And the cool thing about this record is this kind of is a grand summation of everything that Robert Lockwood is about and everything that the Aces are about. It's got the jazzy side with songs like Tanya and I Can't Stand the Pain, which has all his great sort of jazz blues guitar solo licks in there. And then you've got all the Robert Johnson heritage songs that he does, like this one that I just did. And the Little Walter kind of swing thing that all four of them helped create. So this is just a great synthesis document. My old bassist, Sho Komiya, best bassist I ever played with. He's back in Japan now, but he told me that he had a cassette tape of each song on this record, and he would listen to it. He had a day job working at a restaurant, and he'd be back in the kitchen and he'd listen to it all day, like a 90-minute tape of just one song off the record, and then the next day listen to a 90-minute tape all day of like the second song off this record, and so on. So that's how he got that Dave Myers stuff in his head. Dave Myers is such an interesting bass player, and you can really hear his playing on bass. I mean, we've talked about Dave on guitar on these lessons. This is his grand achievement as a bassist. It's all right there. His kind of the swinging and the bounciness of it and the way he played a shuffle, it's all right there. So check it out. If you're interested in the bass, Rodrigo Mantovani has a great YouTube channel about the Masters of Chicago Blues, and you know he plays with Nick Moss and Big Creek Slim, and one of the better bassists out there today, and a great instructor. I think anyone who's enjoying these looks at players like Willie Johnson that we've done here, and Eddie C. Campbell, and Dave Myers, and so on, anybody who likes this channel is definitely going to like Rodrigo Mantovani's channel about the bass guitar. So I think you'll have some fun with that. So now I'll get back to this song. This is in D, and I have a drop D tune in here. And this is just another one of Lockwood's Robert Johnson set pieces, right? I'm just going to use my fingers. I'm just doing a lump like this. If you have a drop D, you could do a lump like this instead of dank, a dank, a dank, a dank. You're like this. You gotta have a real crisp thump there. slides into this part. Notice how it's all based on chords. This is a D7th, right? It's just like Sweet Home Chicago, right? Except it's in drop D. And sometimes he'll roll his second finger over, so you have this kind of. You can do a lump here, but it still has a lot more oomph doing it down here. This, you might be wondering. So this is your G chord. It would be here in standard tuning. But you don't have that because you've got the low E string down 1 fret. I mean down a whole step, pardon me. So you could even go. You could do that if you wanted to, but I think it does this. A7th, and then you can just move you can hold, this is the way I do it. This is more balanced to me. You use my 3rd finger and then my pinky. But you can do it this way. So this is, I'm playing a lump. You don't even have to do this. You can do this. Here's your home chord, right D. So he kind of does one or another variation of that the whole time. And he does things like that in E, A, B, and D on this record. Just really, it's a total exposition of the Robert Johnson style on electric guitar with a band. So now the way Louis Myers plays over it is he's basically playing You're So Fine over it with a few Earl Hooker licks in D on it. That kind of thing. And the whole thing about a shuffle is that you should really feel like you're going somewhere. A shuffle is like walking down the street. It feels like you're walking down the street. So lots of people walk in different ways, right? I mean, you can walk like you're all like pumped up, like if you take your dog for a walk and they're just so excited to be walking around. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel when this song gets rolling. You know, first you hear like the turnaround sort of intro, which is just Lockwood. Same thing, an octave lower. And then they just slam into it. Which is basically You're So Fine, right? You're so fine. I wanna love you all the time. So it's like, this is a lump too, but it's like a lump in the middle of the chord. So here's a D chord, right? And you really got to put some crispness into it, so it really feels like you're walking down the street and you want to be walking down the street. I got rambling on my mind. And he might answer with, Louis Myers might answer this, which is like Lockwood's and Robert Johnson's big thing, right? He might answer with this, which is more Little Walter stuff, right? It's in Everything's Gonna Be Alright. It's everywhere. This is the top part of a D chord. Down 2 frets. This is the top part of like a D6 chord. 7 and 5. I got rambling. Now you're in G. I got rambling on my mind. I'm doing all downstrokes, but you can experiment with up. But downstrokes sound good. happens, but it fits. This instead of just this all the way through, you can go. I don't know if it's in this song, but it's all over this record. He plays a lot of so many nice solos all through it, whereas Lockwood sort of plays his static patterns over a lot. But Lockwood goes crazy on Can't Stand the Pain, and I'm going to do just a bit of that in a minute here. I'm going to put this back in standard tuning. I think Louis Myers plays the lion's share of the lead guitar and the fills on this record, but he's definitely you kind of feel like he's the student on this song. So it's in B flat. And he goes, hey, I wonder will you never change? I can't sleep for screaming, 'cause I just can't stand the pain. This is just classic Lockwood all the way through. Robert Lockwood is kind of like two players. He's got the Robert Johnson side, and then he's got this jazzy side. So I'm just going to talk a little, which is also, this jazzy side is also really well displayed on this record. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Can't Stand the Pain. It starts on the 2 chord. This is in B flat, so it's a C ninth like this. All these chords would be familiar to anyone who's learned the Little Walter songs. This is the chord that's in Last Night. And then, so this is a 2 ninth, right? It's a C with the 10th fret on top. And then the 10th fret on top of your G chord, a G 13th. Notice the bass note on the low E string. I'm so blue and lonesome, I don't know what to do. I can't sleep because I'm worried. It's all because of you. Hey, hey, I know my luck will never change. I can't sleep from worrying. You might even hear this, which is like an unusual chord on the 7th, 8th, 7th, and 10th fret. 'Cause I just can't stand the pain. Let's try that again. So now I'm going to talk just a bit about the guitar solo, and then I'm going to leave you to sort of discover this record on your own if you haven't, or go back to it. I just listened to it 3 times this morning, and it was definitely time well spent, and it's a fun review if nothing else. But talk about a Delmark classic. This is definitely one for the books. So here's his solo, and it's a lot like the stuff he played in the 50s. First, he sort of bebops the first phrase, like da 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 da, kind of like that. And then it has a quick change, so he walks into it like this. So that's playing inside. Those are kind of your notes. I hope I'm not going too fast. This is an E flat. And notice how he ends up back on sort of the tonic, the B flat, right as you get done, right? So. And then he goes to this position. kind of thing, right in the B flat here, out of this sort of D minor shape is what I call it. Then he's on the 4 again. He does this all over, which is out of this. So everything he does is so chordal, right? If you had to walk through the chords, do 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 do. Then he goes da 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 do 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 do. Something like that. Let's try it again. Similar to that. And if you had to put just some chords over it, you could do like this. As you can see, it gets better as you go along. And did I play it perfectly? No, but I definitely got the idea. You have this. Have fun with these great songs, and of course, you know, we're all gonna miss Bob Kester a lot. I know I will. In addition to being personally grateful to him, I keep going back to all the great music that he put out. So do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks a lot. Have a great one.